Good morning. So there's this experiment that was done called Rat Park, and I've heard various versions of it. Essentially, a lot of testing was done on rats with drugs, and the conclusion was that cocaine or whatever the drug was, opiates, were so addictive that the rats couldn't help themselves, and they just became addicts until they overdosed. And somebody else came along who knew more about rats or knew a lot about rats, and they looked at it and they're like, there's this study doesn't make sense to me. You know, the rats are in cages and habitats in environments that are foreign to their evolution. They don't like living there. They're social animals, and if you isolate them in a cage, they'll be miserable. And so this person recreated the experiment with the drugs and rats, and this time created a habitat or an environment where the rats were, that was conducive to how the rats like to live, just basically an environment that was similar, as close as they could get to like their natural habitat. And they put them in the cages, same thing, they gave them the drugs, and what they found is addiction plummeted. The overdose gone, and the guy who did it said, some rats just like to party, so some rats still did the cocaine or opiates or whatever it was, but for the most part, the addiction and the epidemic was gone, and so it was the conclusion and it's been repeated, the conclusion was that it was environmental. It wasn't the drugs, it was the conditions, the way they were living was foreign to their biology, foreign to their evolution, and so they weren't happy, and they were looking for a way to numb out, to medicate their misery, their suffering. It was too much, and so it's better to take drugs until you die than to live like that. And I've heard similar stories about how when, in this country, in America, when the indigenous people, Native Americans, were taken from their tribal communities and put into reservations, alcoholism, addiction went through the roof. It was, like all kinds of, there's, anybody who's seen like movies or documentaries about it, it just looks, it doesn't look like a healthy environment. It looks like something's wrong here. It's hard to look at that and think of this as a good way to live. And I grew up hearing stories like fire water and stuff like that, like basically blaming the stuff, or the people on their conditions. Why don't they just, get themselves better lives or get a job or education? No, it's the environment is foreign to their biology, and they're young enough, or their lineage is close enough to, they still remember how the old ways were. And so like being in this new way is miserable for them. And of course. So that brings me to like, why not let's do a rat park for humans. Let's build a community, a way of living that's conducive and in harmony with our biology, and watch the rates of addiction and violence and all the disease and everything that plagues modern life and civilization. Watch it disappear. Why? It's the resources are there. There's plenty of like centimillionaires that are awake and have the resources. And I even read a statistic that said that when land or real estate, like a group would go in and build a co-housing community, and the land that they bought and built it on became more valuable than the neighboring land and communities. And it was, I'm not sure what it was, 5-6%. And who knows if that's accurate or not. But if it is, that's an incentive for a developer out there, instead of building these like cookie cutter track isolation kind of McMansion things that aren't how we are designed to live. We didn't evolve living that way, so why would we suddenly just be able to live that way, and watch all the addiction and disease and all the problems just disappear? And then, with crowdsourcing and Kickstarter and all this other stuff, Indiegogo, whatever, the money's there, the resources are there, the land's available. Like, let's try it. We have everything to gain. So thanks for watching.